Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at our friend Lex Luthor. So let's get started. Technically, this is the set of Lex Luthor gear that we have in this universe online. Obviously, like a lot of gear we have in the game, it was only inspired by Lex Luthor. It doesn't really look like anything Lex Luthor ever wore. I will try to come up with a few variations to be a bit closer to looks that Lex actually had either in the comics or in the various TV shows. But it's a fairly nice suit of armor. It's a suit of armor you can purchase once you reach Tier 2 in the Hall of Doom, if I'm not mistaken. So in order to be able to purchase this suit, you have to be an evil villain. Now, Lex Luthor pretty much started as some sort of evil scientific villain, evil crazy scientist in the pages of Superman. But through the years, they gave him various different looks to try to make him look more like a super villain, as opposed to just a mad scientist in a white trench coat. And this is pretty much the look that he had in the late 70s, early 80s, pretty much around the time of the Super Friends TV show or the Superpowers action line of comic of action figures. In order to get this look, I'm using the Abracadabra chest piece, the Black Manta belt, or the Abyssal suit belt. The gloves are the thin slimline gloves. The pants, I think this is a reverse slimline, but any slimline pants would do. And these are the nuclear boots. So this is pretty close to the look our friend Lex had. Again, late 70s, early 80s, but I would need some sort of strap to across his chest in order to be able to really reproduce the look. But sadly, we don't have such thing in this universe online right now. This here is the Lex Luthor T-Shirt, or the Lexcorp T-Shirt. Again, you can see it's a nice T-shirt with a big Lex Luthor emblem on it. I have to admit, I completely forget where I got this T-shirt. I would be tempted to say it comes from the vault, but it actually could come from Origin Crisis. I really forgot. It's not a bad looking T-shirt, but I doubt I would use it with any of my characters. This is also a Lexcorp chest piece. I have to admit, I have no idea where this comes from. I guess some NPCs in the game are actually wearing this chest piece, but I have to admit I have no idea where this chest piece comes from. Is it from some comic? Is it from some animated TV show, or is it just something that DC Universe Online came up with? I have to admit I have no idea. And there's a few Lex Luthor emblem you can get in the game. This is the Lexcorp Emblem. This is the emblem you get if you play an evil villain that is mentored by Lex Luthor. And you get this emblem when you reach level 30, or when you complete the main mission from Lex Luthor. I forget which is which, but basically at some point, if you are mentored by Lex Luthor, you are given this emblem. And obviously, if you want to have this emblem on another character, like a hero character, you're gonna have to use replay badges to purchase the emblem on your character. There's also the Lex Luthor emblem that comes from the Notorious Time Capsules. So you can either purchase it straight from the broker if you're a legendary player, or you could decide to open Notorious Time Capsules and hope to get lucky and get this emblem. I'm sure you guys know, personally I strongly suggest, if all you need is one, like the one emblem, just buy it from the broker. And of course, there is the enhanced version of the Lex Luthor emblem. Again, I would strongly suggest just buy it from the broker. Unless you really need a whole bunch of stuff from the Notorious Time Capsules and you are already planning to open some, then sure, open a bunch of Time Capsules, and if you're lucky you could get the emblem. But again, if all you really want is the emblem, just buy it from the broker. Now let's go take a look for how much it is, just for fun. So you can see the Lex Luthor emblem, or even the enhanced version of the emblem, are roughly 1 million each. I understand that if you are a free-to-play player or premium player, 1 million may seem like a lot of money, but if you are a legendary player, there's no reason that you cannot earn $1 million fairly quickly. And as I mentioned, our friend Lex Luthor went through various looks. At some point, again, in late 70s, early 80s, they did give Lex some sort of power armor. I guess they wanted to to give Superman an opponent that could fight him with his fist as well as with his mind. So they gave Lex some sort of power armor, also probably to be able to sell some action figures. To be honest, this is about as close to our powered armor that Lex Luthor was able to get to. We did see also Lex come back to his power armor in the mid 2000, basically around the time of Infinite Crisis, maybe a bit before. We had Lex come back to his old self and start using his evil power armor once more. So here I'm using the flex suit for the chest and the pants. I'm using the Alan Scott shoulders. For the gloves, I'm using the Lex suit gloves from the Hall of Doom. The same with the belt. And the boots, these are the Star boots, Star Labs boots. Overall, it's pretty close to recreating the look of our friend Lex Luthor. For the powered armor look, if somehow you don't have the Lex Luthor emblem, and or you don't want to use the flex suit for reasons, you could use the chest piece from the power armor from the Hall of Doom. You decide. And then in 1986, if I recall correctly, just after Crisis on Infinite Earth, Lex Luthor was reinvented as some sort of evil businessman, as opposed to being some evil, crazy, mad scientist. I'm not sure exactly why the change was made. Although some people were a bit unhappy, they thought they were turning Lex Luthor into a second-rate kingpin. Which is probably why, pretty much in the early 2000, mid-2000, he went back to being his old crazy scientist self with his power armor. But for quite a while, this was the Lex Luthor we had in the comics, the evil businessman Lex Luthor. And also, if you know Lex Luthor from the Justice League TV show, this is pretty much the version you're familiar with as well. And obviously in the movies, they never really went with crazy Lex Luthor with his power armor. Usually they all often went with businessman Lex Luthor for various reasons, and I'm sure the most obvious reason is because it was cheaper to do a guy in a business suit than to have a guy in a power armor fight fist to fist with Superman. Oh well. And then at some point we had the Blackest Night comic with a whole bunch of different Lantern Corps. And within the pages of that comic we had Lex Luthor become an evil Orange Lantern. And there was also a storyline a bit after that in the pages of Action Comics where again we had Lex Luthor as an Orange Lantern. It didn't last all that long, but for a while we had an Orange Lantern version of Lex Luthor, as opposed to the businessman or even the power armor wearing Lex Luthor that we knew before. Here I was able to, basically we have an official set of gear for the Orange Lantern. So here I'm using the chest piece from that. It's the avatar of Ophidian. But it's pretty much, I'm only using the chest piece for the belt. I'm using the Abyssal belt, the Virtuous Knight pants, the Midnight gloves, the Alan Scott shoulders, the Seraph boots. Actually, I think I have the back piece from the Avatar of Ophidian. And here I'm using the Scorching material and the Citron Misted aura. Although obviously if you do not have the Scorching material, you don't have to use it. This is the look you can achieve if you don't use the Scorching material. But obviously, since the armor is pretty much created by the orange ring, the Orange Lantern ring, it pretty much gives this energy glow, like this awesome Action Comics cover where we actually see a full spread of Lex Luthor, and the way his armor is glowing, it's pretty much exactly like that. So it's always a nice coincidence to be able to reproduce that look using the Scorching material. There's a few options if you don't have the Avatar of Ophidian chest piece. And sadly, in order to be able to purchase the Avatar of Ophidian chest piece, you have to be an evil villain, and you have to purchase it from the Hall of Doom. We also have another Orange Lantern official piece of gear. It's the Tunic of Greed. Sadly, the one drawback with the tunic, although it doesn't show as well as much here, but I'll show it to you once I remove the material. So the Tunic of Greed is another piece of gear that's inspired by our friend Larfleeze. And again, it looks awesome with the scorching material. As you see, there is a spot right in the middle of the chest where the emblem should go. Sadly, as you can see, the emblem doesn't fit in the proper place, so somehow it's too high compared to where it should be. It's something that sadly has been happening for like ever. And I guess if they didn't fix it by this time, I don't think they will ever fix it. So if you want to use a Tunic of Greed, you have to accept that sadly the emblem will not be quite at the right place for your character. And of course, I'm using the enhanced version of the Orange Lantern emblem. You can use the regular version if you like. And if you watch my video about how to get a free Green Lantern emblem, it applies to this emblem as well. But obviously, if you don't have the Tunic of Greed or the Avatar of Ophidian chest piece, you can recreate that look well enough using the flex suit. At some point, I wanted to create an Orange Lantern Lex Luthor using the Yellow Lantern powers, and this is pretty much what the flex suit is pretty much what I was using with the Orange Lantern emblem. Of course, if you don't have the scorching material, this is what it looks like. It doesn't look quite as good, but within the context of DC Universe Online, sometimes you do what you can with the styles and the materials you have. And then around the time we got the Earth 3 DLC, we got a new official Lex Luthor set of gear, which came from the Notorious Time capsules. And this set of gear it was a not mixture. Basically, it's the set of gear that Lex Luthor used in the Forever Evil, but they've used the suit in this Universe Online to recreate Alexander Luthor from Earth 3. So they sort of made a suit that was sort of a cross between Lex Luthor and Forever Evil and Alexander Luthor from Earth 3. I will show you another example in just a bit, it'll make a bit more sense. But basically this is the enhanced version of the suit, and it comes from the Notorious Time capsules. And I'm using the Watchful Aura. It made some sort of sense, it kind of worked in my mind to use this aura with this look. So of course, if you played the Earth 3 DLC, you did see Alexander Luthor wearing this armor. And of course, I'm using the gold material for that armor. So this look is pretty much a non-mixture of the New 52 Lex Luthor and the Alexander Luthor from Earth 3. I will show you another look for Alexander Luthor of Earth 3. It will make a bit more sense. And of course, here I'm using the gold material. If you don't want to use any material, without the material, this is what the suit looks like. And again, this is the enhanced version of the suit. It's a pretty nice looking suit, a little bit bulky I suppose, but it works well enough. When we saw Alexander Luthor from Earth 3 within the pages of Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth, this is pretty darn close to what the character looked like. Basically, we had the version of Lex Luthor with curly hair, which I guess was supposed to be ironic, seeing how Lex Luthor was bald. So they decided to give this version of Alexander Luthor a full head of hair, and they gave him some sort of basically bodysuit that was made out of gold, like some sort of golden armor, which kind of looked like that. It's not like that exactly, like the pattern of the lines is off quite a bit, but you get an idea of what the character did look like. So when they gave us Alexander Luthor from Earth 3, they made an odd amalgam of the Alexander Luthor we knew from Crisis on Infinite Earth or even Infinite Crisis with his golden armor, and the new 52 armor that Lex was using in Forever Evil. So within the pages of Forever Evil, they gave us Alexander Luthor of Earth 3, but they gave us Alexander Luthor with a Pepsi twist. He actually was the evil Earth 3 version of Captain Marvel. Although instead of making him like Black Adams or something like that, they literally made him a reverse Captain Marvel by calling him Shazam backward, which is Mezaz. I can't pronounce it, but you get the idea. So basically, it was Shazam backward, and of course, he was evil. It's been a while since I read Forever Evil, and I barely remember the story, so I'm not really sure exactly what was the deal behind the evil Alexander Luthor with the powers of Shazam. But here again, you can see we can recreate something fairly close to our friend Mazas, or whatever it's called. We do have the official emblem that comes from the Notorious Time capsules. Although if you do not have the emblem of the evil Mazas, you can purchase the Aegis of Eternity chest piece from the Watchtower. I'm using the silver material. It's not a material I'm using very often, but basically I'm using the silver material on the classic back piece. The shoulders, I'm using the Kabuki shoulders, but any number of shoulders could do the trick. The gloves and boots, I'm using the Speed Force Spectrum. And the belt, it's the Disciple of Parallax. So you can recreate a pretty good version of our friend Alexander Luthor from Earth 3 from Forever Evil. And then after the Forever Evil storyline, they decided to have Lex Luthor become a member of the Justice League, and they decided to have him become Superman, or at least sort of. So here I'm pretty much recreating that look with the House of L back piece and the House of L chest piece. Although this is the for the back piece, I'm using the 2019 version, but the original version would do. But for the chest piece, you have to use the original version, the 2019 version. The emblem is color locked, so you cannot change the emblem to get the big white ass that Superman had, that Lex Luthor had after Forever Evil. For the shoulders, I think I'm using the Vengeful Surgeon. For the gloves, it's the Robin gloves that we got not too long ago with the Teen Titans DLC, and the boots as well. For the pants, it's the Checkmate Operative pants, but any number of pants could do, and the belt is the Fallen God belt. And there's also the Fallen God chest piece that works well enough to recreate that look. And that is pretty much it for our friend Lex Luthor. I tried to cover a whole bunch of styles, but I'm sure there's quite a few that I did not cover. Again, Lex had a whole bunch of different looks throughout the years. The character has been around for 80 plus years, and we saw the characters in comics and movies and various TV shows and video games. So I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of look for our friend Lex Luthor that I did not cover. If you guys have any suggestions, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. And if enough of you guys suggest an alternate version for Lex Luthor, maybe we'll make a follow-up video. So that is pretty much it for now, guys. If you have any suggestions, So that is pretty much it for now, guys. If you have any questions or again suggestions, do so in the comment section down below, and I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.